Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and just recently, Lux came out, which of course is the second episode of Season 2 of Doctor Who. She got was her second season in the role. And I thought, you know what? This would be a good time to rank all of the second episodes from modern Doctor Who. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at the second episode, not necessarily the second story, but the actual second episode from each season of modern Doctor Who, also taking into account the David Tennant specials and the 60th anniversary. I did not put the Jodie Whittaker specials on here because there were only 3 of them. Although if I did, Legend of the Sea Devils would be at the bottom. Who knows? We may actually just go ahead and throw that in if someone really wants to. So we will be talking about the 09 specials. Screw it, we'll do the Whittaker specials and the 60th anniversary specials as well. And we're going to rank those from worst to best. Now, I had originally thought about bringing Classic into this as well, but that's just too long of a list, honestly. It would take way too long to do. Plus, since there are a few two-parters on this list that are only going to be the second part we're talking about, it felt like it would be unfair to Modern Who to do a second full story from Classic while only doing part of a story possibly for Modern, if that makes sense. So I decided, you know what? Classic could be its own list. Matter of fact, I've probably done that list in a video at some point. So we're just going to be looking at modern Doctor Who today, ranking the second episode of each season or series from worst to best. And starting at the bottom, it would be Legend of the Sea Devils from the Whittaker specials. That's just a mess. It's just an editing mess. I think there was potential for a good story in there. I don't know what happened with that story. Something behind the scenes had to have gone wrong with that story. Maybe it was supposed to be longer originally, but it looks like it got ruined in the edit because there's just so much that doesn't make sense. I think the one I talk about most when I discuss this episode is that scene when Dan takes out all of the Sea Devils just by randomly swinging. Like they're all standing there with their swords and he just kind of, and they all fall down. Like these guys are supposed to be trained with these swords and he's just done. And that's really the main example. And then, of course, we have the scene when the Sea Devil, just Mario, jumps up onto the ship. I've seen people edit in that sound effect of Mario jumping. Something happened. There could have been a good episode in here. And my hat's off that they kept the classic Sea Devil design for the Sea Devils. That's a nice touch. Just somehow, something went wrong. And this got butchered in the edit. So it has to come in last. Next on the list, starting the list proper from where I wrote it, is Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. I think I've only seen this episode once. Maybe twice. I don't think so. I think just once. I remember watching this episode when it first came out, although I was a bit distracted. I had, when did this come out? Wasn't this the one right after? Yeah, right after, Asylum of the Daleks. So I just went through a bad breakup because I remember me and a girl I were dating, we broke up between Asylum of the Daleks and Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. That's etched firmly in my head. And so I was a bit distracted because I was not very thrilled about that. And so I was kind of distracted while watching this. I need to go back, I guess, and rewatch this one at some point, but I just remember finding it silly. And I find it hard sometimes to go back and rewatch the episodes with Rory's dad, Brian, because I feel like he never got any closure as to why his son and daughter-in-law never came back. They just didn't. I don't know if the doctor ever went back and told him, especially considering how worried he was about something happening to him. I kind of find it hard to go back and do that. This is one I've been meaning to go back and rewatch, but I never want to go back and rewatch. Next on the list is the Fires of Pompeii. I don't get into this one. I just don't. I love the Doctor and Donna together. I like Series 4. I just find this episode boring. I think I've watched it twice. Maybe? No, it's got to be more than that because I've watched through this season with people. Okay, 3 or 4 times. It's just so forgettable for me. I never want to go back to this. I mean, I love the fact it's got Capaldi in it before he's the Doctor. That's cool. But, again, probably one I need to give a rewatch, but I never want to rewatch. Next on the list is the Unqu Dead. Now, this is the first good one on the list, but I have a problem with this. This is just hard for me to watch. It creeps me out. I once called it the scariest episode of Doctor Who ever made, just because I've never had an episode of Doctor Who that just unnerves me the way this one does. This one scared the hell out of me the first time I saw it. I don't know what it is, but it's one of those, if it's late at night and the lights are off, maybe it's just because the actors playing let's just call them zombies for ease, just to be easy. The actors playing the zombies do a good job playing zombies, and the makeup artist on them, they come across as being walking cadavers, which is what they are. They're walking corpses. And the actors, the camera work, and the makeup do a good job conveying that somehow what you're looking at, while looking human, isn't human. Like it's a mockery of a human. And that somehow, you can just tell. And they do a good job of conveying that, and I find that unnerving. But since it is objectively a good episode, I think, well written, well shot, well performed, good cast. You got Charles Dickens, the actor playing Charles Dickens is good, and Eccleston's on fire. I do have to give it some props. It is, pretty much all of them on the list at this point and up are stories I like to one degree or another. Next on the list is Into the Dalek. Now, this is one I'm not overly fond of, but it's not bad. This is another one of those I just rewatch, every now and again. It's a neat idea, a good Dalek, and it's a neat idea to kind of do like a fantastic journey, fantastic voyage, whatever the name of the movie was. When they go inside of a person, to do that with a Dalek is fascinating. And then to find the Dalek that thinks it's beautiful, to see such hatred in the Doctor towards the Daleks, that's neat. And the effects for it look pretty good. Plus, you're still really trying to figure out this new Doctor and this am I a good man thing, which I will admit I'm not keen on that, but it's interesting trying to figure this new Doctor out. It's not a bad story by any means. It's just not one I want to go back to. And not one... Series 8 has a lot of good and a lot of bad in it. This is one of those rare stories where it's just kind of in the middle for me. Usually I either really like an episode or really don't in Series 8. Next on the list, sticking with Capaldi, is Smile. And we're definitely moving up here because I do like Smile. I like the concept of this episode. I love the fact that Doctor Who manages to tackle emojis, or emocons if you prefer, and does it in a very typical Doctor Who fashion by making it its own thing, associating it with killer robots. And it actually does give an explanation at the end that I find believable. I don't know if makes sense is right. I mean, it makes sense to me, but I don't know if it makes sense to everybody. But I find it very believable in the Doctor Who world that could happen, because after all, it's another lesson of a computer only knows what you tell it. It really is a very clever, intelligent, dumb thing. And I like that. I like the design of this episode. I like how the nanites are incorporated into the episode. I just really enjoy this one. It's a lot of fun. It's not like top tier Doctor Who, but it's a lot of fun. Next on the list is Day of the Moon, which of course is part 2 of the Impossible Astronaut. I enjoy it. I'm not a big fan of Series 6. It's very convoluted to me. There's too much going on. It's too wrapped up in its seasonal arc. But this one's fun. It's a little confusing at the beginning, trying to figure out how they've got here. But it's a fun romp. The guy playing Canton Edward Delaware III, or whatever his name is, I like that guy a lot. I just like him as an actor. He's also in Battlestar Galactica. I really like him. It also leaves a nice tease for the rest of the season. I find the resolution of it with the moon landing is also very cleverly done. Next on the list is Spyfall Part 2. Now, I like Spyfall, both parts. I do feel like Part 1 is better than Part 2. This is another one of those stories. where part 1 tends to be better than part 2. Part 2 can't quite live up to part 1. It's still fun. It's got a James Bond feel to it. It's a fun romp. I don't feel like the light creatures, the ones that look just like they're all light, I don't feel like they're explored as well as they were set up to be. And I feel like they were beaten way too easy with some Deus Machina. But I liked learning about a couple actual women from history, especially the World War II woman. That was pretty cool. I remember looking her up later and reading about her. That was pretty fascinating. I think Whittaker's putting in a good performance. I think Sacha Dhawan is a good master. Even if he's not my favorite, I still think he's good. And yeah, I just find it a good time. Next on the list is The Witch's Familiar. It gets a little silly at times, like the doctor in Davros's chair, which is supposed to be his life support system, is a little eye-rolling to me. But if there's anyone who can pull it off, it's Capaldi, to be fair. I don't really like the stuff going on with Clara and Missy. I mean, it's funny in a way, but at the same time, I don't like it. But at the same time, I always love Michelle Gomez as Missy. The whole, they say, exterminate to reload thing is really stupid. But I do love the scenes between the Doctor and Davros, especially before the twist at the end. It's really well performed by Peter Capaldi and Julian as well. Julian Bleach, is that his name? Yeah. You know, they actually have some what feel like genuine moments between them. And I love when they share the joke about, we've only, really discovered one thing. You are not a very good doctor. I like that. And I wish it had been genuine. I don't like the cheap twist that it was just Davros manipulating him. It just feels so cheesy. Because this is Doctor Who. You could have made that genuine. You could have had Davros die. Because, I mean, you could have always brought him back. He could have been earlier in his time stream before he got into that shape. Or even, he could have been cloned. I mean, there's ways. It's Doctor Who. You could have made it work and had those scenes genuine. I just feel like it chickened out. But all of those scenes up to that point with them together were really good. And that's pretty much what's carrying this episode this high. Next on the list is The Devil's Chord. This one's fun. It's just a lot of fun. It's not perfect. And the actors playing the Beatles look nothing like the Beatles. They look like the Beatles if they had all the masculinity squeezed out of them. But Jinx Monsoon is a perfect storm, of a good time here. I love how over the top she is here. Just so over the top. I have a lot of fun with that. Perfectly cast for the role. I like the character of Jinx. I like that Gatwa is truly scared here and worried and doesn't quite know what to do. He remembers last time when he had to fight one of the Pantheon gods with the toy maker and what it did to him. And then the scene when he uses the actual Sonic for Sonics, and even Maestro can appreciate the move and is kind of like, before, of course, shattering the Sonic. I liked that scene. The resolution was okay, but not the best in the world. And I do wish the Beatles had done that whole last thing instead of just the last note. I wish you'd had all four of them there. But, yeah, it's an enjoyable episode. Next on the list is The Beast Below, an underrated Matt Smith episode. Only his second episode, actually. I like this one. I like the guest cast. The woman playing Liz 10 is great. I like our main cast. I like seeing the Doctor and Amy kind of get used to each other. I like that we get to see the Doctor's temper in this one when he snaps at Amy. And I like the fact that we see the sorrow side of him when he thinks he has to basically murder the whale and turn it into a vegetable, and how much that pains him. And when he makes that line about no one human has anything to say to me today. Very much, I'm sitting there going, your 6 is showing. And just the rage he has, and that it takes Amy to figure out what's going on. Plus, I just like how well the set is done for this. I like the set of this episode a lot. It's an underrated story, And it's, I really like it because it's so early in Matt's run, you're really still figuring his character out. Amy, too, and their relationship. Next on the list is War of the Centaurans, my favorite part of Flux. I really think this would have made such a good standalone episode. Luckily, the Flux stuff in it is light. It's not quite as threaded through it like Village of the Angels is. I love the performances. I just recently watched this and reviewed it. I like the performances, a lot of the guest cast. I think it looks cinematically. It has a nice cinematic look to it, which I like. I like actually being able to see like an army of Centaurans fighting an army of British soldiers. You couldn't have done that. Even in the early days of the modern series, much less the classic series. It looks really good. 13 is actually really good in this one. Dan gets some stuff to do in this one. Yeah, I actually really like this one. I have some nitpicks with it, which I discussed more in my review, but I thought it was a really good episode. Next on the list is Wild Blue Yonder, the second of the 60th anniversary specials. I love the look of this one, that hallway. I'm looking at it going, I can see the budget here. That looks good. I can see that they actually put some money in this. It's nice seeing David and Catherine playing these dual roles. And it's shot so well that I knew something was wrong even when they were in the different rooms with the doppelgangers. I knew something was up. It just, the way it was shot, I could tell. It looks a little silly at times, like when David's head is like bent backwards. That's a little too on the nose. And some of the bit with the arm being too long, which is neat that that's a practical effect. But it's interesting that it could do that. And then I like the resolution for the most part. I don't like the fact he grabs the wrong Donna and it takes him so long to figure it out. That's a little too stretched out for me. And then I also hate the fact that everything got wrecked because Donna spilt a little coffee on the Tardis, which is causing all the problems we're dealing with now. That's a little irritating. But overall, a nice episode. It's got a really good tone to it. Next on the list is Lux, and this could just be recency biased for it, but especially considering it doesn't have the best ending in the world. The first half of it's really strong, the second half of it's just kind of okay. But it does a good job of being one of those out there, weird, something different Doctor Who episodes, like the Celestial Toymaker, like the Mind Robber, like Ghost Light. And I tend to like when episodes do stuff like that. The animation is done really well, combining the animation of Mr. Ring-a-Ding with the surviving footage. Very Who Framed Roger Rabbit style is really nice, and I absolutely adored learning that one of the guys who worked on this was also someone who worked on Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I loved that. I love the design of Mr. Ring-a-Ding. Alan voices him well. I like the chemistry, I guess, between Belinda and the Doctor, although they seem to get on good terms a little too quickly. I mean, not quite at the beginning of the episodes when she's like, we can leave. We can get in and leave. And he's like, And then I will admit, I did like the bit when he's like, it's literally an old theater with an old caretaker. And she's like, all right, come on, Velma. That was kind of funny. I like their outfits as well. I like how well it deals with the era that they're in. The fact that they are in 1952 Miami and have to deal with segregation. I like that the episode addresses it, but it doesn't hit you over the head with it. It doesn't go on and on about it. It addresses it. It acknowledges it in a clever way, which it should. And then it moves on to the story, even showing that there were people there in that time who obviously don't agree with segregation and who are willing to bend the rules for them. I like that. That's something I needed to see more of in Rosa, and I'm glad I got that here. To show that not everybody was bound by the way things were back then. The lighting is done really well. That opening, that cold open is just phenomenal. I love that cold open. And the guy who plays Mr. Pie is phenomenally good. The meeting the fans bit, I've softened on that. I didn't hate it to begin with. It was just a little jarring. But it's kind of amusing now, except for the collection box sets being in the wrong order in the background. That's unforgivable. But other than that, I thought it was clever and cute and amusing even. But other than the ending being a little anticlimactic, I thought it was a well-shot, visually impressive episode. Next on the list is the Ghost Monument. I tend to like this one a lot. I like the world. I like the bit when you find out the water is acidic. I wished it had touched more on that. I love the living bandages. It so reminds me of an episode of Thundercats that I like. And I love things that remind me of Thundercats, yes. And I like the fact that the Ghost Monument is the TARDIS. I called that ahead of time the first time I watched it, and that pleased me. And the guest cast for this episode's good. The rival male and female, I guess, bounty hunters or whatever they are, they're both well cast. The guy running the contest is also really well done. I really enjoy this one. It's fun. It gets a little too much maybe at the end when she's like, "You've redecorated." I like it a lot. I'm kind of rolling my eyes. But other than that, it's a really good episode. And then we get into the top 3, which I didn't expect to all be Tennant episodes, but they are. In third place, we have Tooth and Claw. This is fun. I mean, Doctor Who does werewolves. I love werewolves. The original Howling, of course, being really good. American Werewolf in London being really good. But what really started me on it was back when I was little, there was a TV show back when Fox first started. It only ran 1 season, but there was a TV show called Werewolf on Fox. And I loved that show. I love that show. It even had Chuck Connors as the bad guy in a few episodes. I absolutely loved that show. And wish they would release it on DVD here in the U.S. They never have. They finally released it on DVD, and it was in France, and I never got to import it. But because of that, I have the strong love for werewolves. And I enjoy that. I like the actress playing Queen Victoria, which is a classic Who alum from the Faceless Ones. And then even the other guest actors, I think, are all doing a really good job. Now, the CGI for the werewolf looks a little dated by today's standards, but it's a little nitpick. And there is this huge plot hole of they built this one room that's basically werewolf-proof, but they leave this huge glass dome at the top, and nobody thinks. I mean, it's like having an exhaust port on the Death Star if that had been done by accident, you know? It's just right up there. But other than that, it's a good episode. Number 1 and 2 are really hard to pick between because they're almost a tie. Right? Basically, I love them both. At number 2, I put Planet of the Dead, which was my personal favorite of the specials. I know most people don't seem to care for it. I thought the special effects for it looked really good. It's the first episode of Doctor Who in the modern series to be shot in HD, which I really like. I really like seeing Michelle Ryan. I like her character, the Lady D'Souza or whatever her name is. I like her character. I would love to see her come back. Her and Tennant have such good chemistry, and because of that, their characters have such good chemistry. I actually like the flirty banter between them. I'm usually not a fan of the Doctor being romantic or hanky-panky in the TARDIS, but I like that kind of fun, flirty nature occasionally with the Doctor. And that's really fun between them here. I will admit I actually enjoy that. You speak their language? Every language. And, of course, I love Malcolm. Malcolm is just awesome. I'm very upset we haven't gotten Malcolm back. He's great. Bring Malcolm back. And the lady that leads unit, I don't know her name. The one the Doctor's like, "Are you saluting right now?" And she's like, "No." I'd love to see her back again. Bring her back. I liked her a lot. I want to see more of her. And then I just thought it was a neat story with a neat villain. That's just or the bad guys in it. And that's just part of their life cycle. It's a really good one that doesn't get enough credit. And the number 1 on the list for me is probably the Shakespeare Code. I love Series 3 a lot. My favorite series of Modern Who. I think this one is really well done. The guy playing Shakespeare is really good in it. I just like him. I buy him as a younger Shakespeare. I like the story. The actress playing the lead witch is really good. David Tennant is absolutely killing it in this episode. I like to see the bond between him and Martha kind of start to grow. Even though you're kind of getting the she likes him, jealous of Rose thing. Like when he talks about Rose and she just blows out the candle. But I also like the bit when the witch mentions Rose and he's like, "Yeah, you shouldn't have done that." And how when she calls him the Doctor, it does nothing to him because that's not actually his name. That's just what he goes by. And I think it's easy to forget that. It's like we know that as fans, but I think it's easy to forget that. So it's nice to have that little reminder in there. And I love at the end when they manage to stop the witches, everybody thinks it's part of the show. And then that ending with Queen Elizabeth, you know, I just love the timey-wimey nature of that. It's a fun one. It's a really fun one. So that's how I would rank all of modern Doctor Who's second episodes. I want to know what you think of this list and how you would rank them. And what you think of Lux and how it stacks up. Comment down below and let's talk about it. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button as well. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me on that. That is down there. I have a P.O. box if there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review. A link to the Amazon wishlist is down there. A link to the Amazon UK wishlist is down there. I've updated those recently. Check those out. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Colin Coney, Sam Venning, Unknown289, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. Most importantly, thank you for watching.